Let's fucking go.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I have a video. I'm making this video to talk about a theory that I have that Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, is gonna die in Avengers Doomsday. I've been thinking about this ever since I've seen the Thunderbolts, and I kind of mentioned it in my Thunderbolt review, but it feels to me like Avengers Doomsday, and it's kind of been hinted in a lot of the conversations from the Russo brothers to Robert Downey Jr. to a lot of people who have already seen this the script for this, the script, and seen what it's gonna be and seen the things that are gonna happen. It sort of heavily hints to the idea that some people are gonna die, that some heroes are gonna die and they're not gonna come back. Like, I believe there was a quote out there, I can't remember what article and who said it, along the lines of, when someone dies, they're not coming back. And it kind of mentioned that a couple times, like that there's going to be some epic deaths, there's going to be some epic stuff. It's funny enough, it's why we all thought it was going to be Chris Hemsworth's Thor who was going to die after he released this heartfelt, just, I don't know how to call it, just heartfelt message to the fans of Thor over these years. And it was so heartfelt and was talking about how he got cast and the journey he's been on that we all just assumed, well, it seems like Chris Hemsworth's gonna die. But then a report came out yesterday, actually. It was either yesterday or it was either Tuesday or Monday that Marvel Studios is officially developing a fourth Thor movie that will take place after Avengers Secret Wars. And it was by Daniel Rickman, I believe. Or not Daniel Rickman, what was it, Daniel RPK? I can't remember that guy's name, but it's Daniel. You've probably seen him up. He's a pretty big time scooper these days. He's usually 100% when he puts something out there. And he reported that, and it's been reported by a couple other people. I don't think the Hollywood Reporter or, Empire or Deadline or anyone, reported on it. But it seems there's been so much smoke around a fourth Thor movie, and Chris Hemsworth himself has talked about a fourth Thor movie so much that it's easy to believe that they are going to bring him back for a fourth Thor movie, which means Thor isn't going to die. You would assume, anyways, that Thor isn't going to die. And it made me kind of go through a list of people who would die in this movie. And while I could talk about Bruce Banner potentially dying, or I could talk about Hawkeye potentially dying, because it would have to be some people who have been around a while, who haven't died yet, who have made an impact. But the person that I believe the most is going to die in Avengers Doomsday is Bucky Barnes. First of all, it hit me at the end of the Thunderbolts, especially after the post-credit scene, that Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, has pretty much done everything narratively in terms of arcs, in terms of his actual character narrative, that he can possibly do. Don't get me wrong, there's a billion other things you can do with the character of Bucky Barnes. There's a billion different team-ups. You can have him have a solo R-rated adventure. But there's a lot of things you can do with Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier. But the fact of the matter is, from a character standpoint, narrative-wise, he's pretty much done everything that he can do. He has already been the bad guy. He's already gone through his redemption. He's already gone through the struggles of overcoming his old programming, and he's already mourned the loss of his friend. He's already accepted that Sam Wilson is Captain America. In Thunderbolts, he's helped others through similar circumstances that he had heal and find a way. So he's like a leader of other people like himself. And he's become an Avenger and a hero to the public. He's pretty much done everything from a narrative standpoint that you would think you would do with that character. There is nothing else to do with that character. The last thing he had to do was the thing he did in the Thunderbolts, which was be a mentor / leader to people very in similar circumstances as him, and he's already done that. So now, the only thing left for Bucky Barnes to do is die nobly. Again. for the second time, but this time permanently, is to die nobly. And I even have an idea of how they will go about doing it. First of all, establish at the end of that post-credit scene that Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes slash Yelena's Avengers teams are beefing with each other over the right to be the Avengers team. Now, we don't entirely know who Sam Wilson's Avengers team is. It's been reported by many people that his team will be assembled off-screen. So by the time Doomsday starts, we're going to see Sam Wilson with his full team, which will probably be something like Torres, the new Falcon, Shang-Chi, maybe Wong, maybe Captain Marvel. It'll be some people like that. It'll be familiar faces that you know, familiar faces that have all entire movies dedicated to them that you've seen before. So it's not going to be a bunch of randos that you've never seen, but he will have a team, and there will be button heads over the right to be called the Avengers. And through the course of the movie, this is just me spitballing. I don't know. I ain't seen no fucking Hollywood MCU Marvel script. Otherwise, my ass, there'd be a fucking beam pointing at my forehead right now, and I'd be just like, so guys, I gotta go. This is just me spitballing, and it's just me just speculating about the movie. But the way that the Thunderbolts ended and set up this conflict between these two different Avengers groups, it is going to be one of those things where Sam, somewhere along the way, has forgotten why he got the shield, has forgotten, like, what his purpose is to be this leader, and he's starting to judge this Thunderbolts team. He's starting to judge Bucky. He's starting to say, you guys don't have the right to be Avengers. And somewhere along the way, throughout all the, and they're going to be button heads throughout the entirety of the movie, somewhere along the way, Bucky is going to die. Either it's going to be Sam Wilson's fault, or he is going to die protecting Sam, which is going to wake him up, which is going to be like, I just have a feeling Bucky's death will be used similarly, actually, almost very similarly to the way it was used for Captain America in the first Avengers, in the Captain America the First Avengers movie, that the way Bucky is going to die to set Sam Wilson on his, to be another arc for Sam Wilson, to be another thing for him to overcome, to be another thing for him to have to live with, that he may or may not have been responsible for the death of a good friend of his over this bullshit, and it will be an arc for Sam Wilson that he has to go throughout, maybe it happens at the end, maybe it happens in the middle. Either way, Bucky Barnes is going to die to send Sam Wilson down a path. That's what I believe anyways. Because when you set things up the way they set things up at the end of the Thunderbolts, with it being clear lines between these two people who are so almost inseparable that they got an entire show called The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that they're on opposite sides of this shit, that they're beefing, and it's clear that Sam Wilson, at least I hope so, and I believe so, is going to be Captain America going into the future. So you need to do something. And like I said, I don't think there's much else to do with Bucky Barnes. I think you've pretty much explored every narrative thing you can do with that character. Yes, there's some badass, awesome things you could do. You could do this, you could do that. But from a narrative perspective, there's nowhere else to go with Bucky Barnes, except for him to die as motivation for another character. It may not be his death for motivation for Sam Wilson. It may be his death for Yelena. Also, there's reports that Yelena joined Sam Wilson's team. It isn't it's not insane to believe that she joins Sam Wilson's team because Bucky dies. That's not an insane thing to believe, but we just know she does. We don't know that, but there's reports that she does join Sam Wilson's team, which means there has to be some shit that goes down that leads to that. But anyways, that's my theory. I think Bucky Barnes is going to die in Avengers Doomsday. I think Sebastian Stan has kind of joked about dying so many times. I think that Bucky has exhausted all the narrative things that he can really do, and that there's nothing else for him to really do other than die in service of another character. But anyways, that's just my thoughts. What do you guys think below? Do you think Bucky Barnes is going to die? And if not Bucky, who do you think will die in Avengers Doomsday? Because you can bet your ass, maybe a couple people will die. Anyways, thank you guys again. Joining me on the Comic Game Movie Show. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.